Hi, I'm Sasha, and welcome to Joy is on the Menu. Today's essay was first published November 11th, 2024, and it's called Everything Always Works Out for Me. 5 minutes ago, it all seemed terribly dark, and then something happened, and it's not light, definitely tentative, like baby horse learning to walk tentative. But I can see that there will be or can be a stretch of light in my future where I won't be so sensitive and teary. As you know, when it's dark inside, I'll try any woo-woo to lift that nose of the plane up. I was using the law of attraction a little bit, or playing with using the law of attraction. I wrote a note to self and stuck it by my desk. Everything always works out for me. My inner cynic, not to be confused with Evie, my inner critic, gave a perfunctory objection, but allowed this statement to stand for examination. Everything always works out for me. Is it true? Does everything always work out for me? If I'm still here, then yes, things are working themselves out. The story is unfolding. Perhaps not the way I think it should, but the spiritual folk I used to scoff at say I'm not in charge of the plot line, so let go or be dragged. The microscopic lens can go bye-bye, and I can put a little more space into everything. Like I had that pile of mail I knew I needed to process. The low mojo had me backlogging a bit. It was weighing on me, but I finally did it, and it wasn't so bad. And I didn't let it go as long as I used to let things go, and I'm calling that progress. Today, I'm going to reward myself with a walk and two Halloween candies before I donate the rest of them. Everything always works out for me, but everything works out better when I take good care of myself first. And I am here with BFF positivity coach and manifestation expert, Holly Ridgway.
Hello, hello.
And so it's funny because I'm still perhaps more tentative than would be ideal about this whole law of attraction, manifesting type modality that I know you're pretty immersed in. So tell me about that. Like, why is there so much resistance to something that does seem to feel better more of the time?
It I it can definitely seem like a that's too easy. That's too good to be true. That kind of stuff I think is definitely the resistance to it. I still sometimes have that myself as things get better and better. I still struggle with taking it that to the next level. And so the a lot of times I'm just teaching people, can you think a better thought? Don't think the unicorn's rainbow thought, but what's your next
Just
better
slightly better than oh my gosh, I am so bad. This pile of mail is so bad. Like I'm going to go bankrupt and have my credit destroyed if I don't get on this. And why am I so undiligent? And why aren't I a person who takes care of things better?
Yeah, well, that gets into like the quality questions. A lot of self-talk can be your self-care because I always talk about quality questions. When you're asking, what's wrong with me? Then the brain goes and it wants to look
Right.
for an answer. That's
Oh, right. And okay, so I'm gonna give this a whirl and you tell me if I got it right or not. Okay. So instead, I look at the pile of mail that has built up and I say,
you got nothing.
well, I'm kind of like chewing on it. It's like, oh, look, a pile of mail to process. Yay! But that is like not true. I don't want to do it. And then I feel bad for not doing it. What about, oh, look, a pile of mail. I know I'm going to get to that in time for everything to work out for me.
Well, that kind of thing, when I can't make myself do something, then I do kind of ask God or ask the universe, ask whatever your source is for the willingness to do so. Just like I've done with so many other things in my life, and I know you relate, is just I just say, I I need the strength and the willingness to do this, you know, like please give it to me. And at
Hmm.
some point there will be an opening where now I'm looking at that thing and it's not so daunting. I'm doing it out of choice rather than out of this like
Hmm.
massive pile of obligation staring at me. You know, I leave town for long lengths of time and I will come home to a boatload of mail, and it used to freak me
And
out.
so you're a positivity coach. Do you go like, oh, yay, look at all this mail?
I feel like
Not to, I'm truly asking. I'm not being
yeah, I feel like
sarcastic.
the last time I had a
Pile.
mishap, I received a lot of calls and texts from Citibank, and I trust that if anything were going on wrong, I would get a text or a call first because now I know. And and I'm usually, thank God for online banking and things like that. And I do trust kind of the inner the dick, the deep inner knowing that I'm getting to these things before it is of detriment. And if I overwhelm myself and beat myself up, I push it farther away from me rather than saying, I'd really like to get to that. And I'd like to feel the friendliness of opening up to that. And that's when something really literally, I know this is the too good to be true part, but something then softens and I'm
Ugh.
open to opening it, or I at least will rush through it and I tear the things I know are
Hmm.
BS in half and get it out of my headspace. And then the pile is really not nearly as daunting as I thought.
And just like sidebar, not woo. I know there are companies that will reduce my junk mail or something like to be more green. But anyway, back to the woo part. I'm noticing that neither of us have jumped on the fact that maybe if I were feeling better more of the time or in positive flow, there wouldn't be so much pile up. Like mail would come in. Now, your point about traveling a lot, like that's a different thing. But if I'm just home and the mailbox is right in front of my house, okay, this is negative sounding, but why don't I have a routine of getting the mail every day and looking at the mail every day? Why is it kind of like whenever I feel like it? And so maybe what I should be manifesting is, I know you use
Gratitude.
the dirty word, like like one of my best friends in the world, I said something about manifesting to her and she was like, don't use that word. That word, bah. And I love her so much, but I am opening up to the possibility that no, I actually already believe that my thoughts, my inner dialogue, my outer dialogue has an impact on how I feel, how others feel around me, and in turn, the results I get.
Beautiful.
And I don't know that many people who would argue with that if I'm kinder, nicer, and more pleasant to myself and others, it makes for a better day.
Right. And even the people who don't believe it, they're kind of caught in that self-affirming loop again, because the brain is always affirming itself and looking for answers to the questions you ask. So if you're lightly inside and don't even know it, saying what's wrong with me and why can't I get the mail today? You're not going to be able to get the mail that day. And it does become just that simple.
Everything always works out for me. So maybe I'll try.
That's a big one. That might be too big a jump. That's
What
fine. Like,
about I get my mail and process it regularly with grace and ease. That feels so like lame. My inner cynic, my inner rebel is just like, oh, come on. You have been in California way too
well,
long.
my thought about you not going to the mailbox every day was start with gratitude. I love living in a neighborhood that's so nice. I can leave my mailbox in there for days. We get our mail every day because we don't want somebody else to get our mail.
Oh, interesting. That didn't even occur to me. I am lucky to live. Okay, if you know where I live, don't come get my mail. I know a lot of you do.
Yeah, and I live in a great city, but there that has been a problem. So I am noticing like, oh, there is such an opportunity for that, right? Because we just forget because we have a mailbox right out front of our house too. It's like
Okay,
it's the
I'm
exact
getting a
same.
PO box
It's
tomorrow.
the exact same as yours. And I don't know. Can you let the mail just pile up and it's no big
It
deal?
doesn't get that bad. And also, I will bring it
Does.
in. And well, everything, as you said, everything's online. So this is a great example, actually, because it's something that isn't really a consequential thing, but I do feel bad about it.
There we go. Right, because
And
it's
it
that.
doesn't matter. It's
Right.
like, oh, catalog, statement saying I've already paid because something's on auto
Right.
pay.
So let's use a different example is dishes.
Oh no. Hey,
Be-
that's a low blow, Holly. That's
because
a low blow. Holly's been staying with me. And wait, I said I did not want to get personal.
it doesn't matter. We don't have to tell on the dishes. Dishes is a universal issue and it doesn't have consequences. Like you've got a pile of mail you've been ignoring for a month. There may be a bill in there that's coming due. So, that's viable. But really, dishes is just one of those things that can pile up and it doesn't matter who you are or where you live. Why do we do the dishes? And it has been for me, I was a dishes pile up kind of person. I'm pretty sure my last relationship broke up because of the constant fight about dishes.
I think a lot of relationships do. And there was an essay, maybe in the New York Times, in some major publication by a guy who was pretty much regretting the breakup of his marriage because he wouldn't do the dishes and it incensed his wife so much. And then only in retrospect did he realize it wasn't entirely about the dishes,
Glad you
it
went
was
there.
about taking care of the
Mm,
cohabitator with you and their needs, requests,
yeah.
and it's a respect thing.
Well, in my very first thing that I do is actually relationship coaching, on the verge of counseling because Gay and Katie Hendricks were my teachers, and they, of course, are relationship experts. And I know I bring them up every time. And Abraham Hicks, haven't said their name yet today, but but really, it's never about the dishes, right? And so I think for us
I
too,
mean,
it's the
sometimes it
same.
is. Sometimes it is.
Every once in a while, but it's usually in a relationship, you're not having 1,000 arguments. You're having one argument 1,000 times.
Mm.
And then it's never about the dishes. With me and my ex, it really wasn't about the dishes, but it centralized around this constant conversation with dishes and dinner. Constant. And but obviously there were a host of other things, and same for this gentleman you're talking about. And so yeah, it's a beautiful thing then, because even talking about our self-care, self-talk, and kind of taking care of business around the house or not, and not beating ourselves up if we don't, it's not really about the mail. It's not really about the dishes.
No, it's not about the dishes. It's not about the mail. And what you just said was so good. It reminded me of another nugget that's been helpful. What is the real conversation? What's the conversation below the conversation?
Mhm.
There's words that are on the surface, and then there's the feelings below them. And it's like, could you please do the dishes for the severalth time? Maybe if I'm saying that to someone, what I really mean is, why don't you listen to me? Why don't you care about
What I care
keeping our
about.
home
Yeah.
nice in a way that makes it nice for me? But going back to my own dialogue with myself, um, oh geez, if I don't do the dishes or let the mail pile up, maybe it is sort of a saying to myself, you don't matter enough to me to do regular maintenance. I know for me, sometimes it's also a little bit of grandiosity. Like I have bigger fish to fry than this mundane domestic stuff. I'm living on a, plane of intellectualism and
Right. But once you're enlightened, you still have to do laundry.
there's that, right? There's that fabulous book. What is it? First Enlightenment, then the laundry, or
Oh,
did
first,
you not
I
know
don't
that
know.
you were
I
referencing a
have no
famous
idea.
book?
No
Yeah.
clue.
Um, so enjoyment. The point is, if joy is on the menu,
Well,
how do I order it up in my even with my mundane kind of domestic earthly obligations, right? I mean, I could order up joy if I were always on vacation on a yacht in Tahiti.
Well, and I mean, I know a lot of people who'll take those vacations and they can't get out of their head enough to enjoy
Right. They
it.
don't even enjoy it.
Right. So it comes back to that, I don't know, presence. What I wanted to say was, I've been on this kick about following my highest excitement, which I understand that's a strong word, but I've made a lot of good decisions for a lot of years, so I can trust myself to check in. But it comes down to the small moments of my highest excitement, and that doesn't mean I ignore what's in front of me to do. And when I can honestly look at the pile of mail and I am just defeated, like, ugh, I can't think of anything less exciting to do, I will put it off and I'll pause. And that's when I send my little request to source, universe, higher self, God, and say, I'd like to get to that. And I'd like for it to be easier than it is.
Mm.
And with permission, I let myself walk away because I know it's so inaccurate to beat myself up with it or do it right in that moment.
Right. That's so true. It's like, how do I approach it? Makes a task that really it's all about my inner state and how I approach, how I feel about doing what I'm doing makes all the difference. If I'm beating myself like a lame donkey going up a steep hill to get something done, yeah, I'm not going to want to do that very much. But if I'm like, oh, I am an adulting witch of highest good and I am taking care of myself like a boss, then it's going to be okay. And maybe I'll put on some
Yeah.
Gwen Stefani
I'll
or
make
some
magic out of
Madonna
it.
and
I
I
love it.
will just process those dishes, process that mail, fold that laundry, answer those emails, whatever it is. And I think that is about this notion of programming the GPS. Where do I want to be? And saying, I want to be in joy
Yeah.
and making that decision over and over again and then trusting to get there
And,
is key.
and I love that you came back to that because you are frequently bringing up, and this is sort of how I notice you approach it, each time we talk and have one of these episodes, is how do I feel? You check in with that.
Hmm.
And it seems so obvious, but that exact words haven't come out of my mouth. I am just like, is this my highest excitement? And yours is friendlier and accessible, such as, can you just know that joy is on the menu? Nobody's forcing you to order it or make any decisions around that today, but to know. And so it's the same episode after episode. I've heard you say, how is this making me feel right now? And that's sort of,
Well, for me, where I come from, it is a big leap to simply say, I would like to feel good more of the time. And even more, I would like to feel joyful all the time. I mean, that is, whew,
yeah.
that's a lot.
Right, exactly. Believe me, I know because my company More Happy was just appalling. I don't need to be happy.
And
I like what you're saying though about checking in, and then also you can create the reframe around it. Like, I know you don't love dishes, and I have gotten into this sort of Zen thing where I put something on to listen to, and I mean, my ex-boyfriend would die if he listened to this aforementioned breakup, that I enjoy dishes now. And it's sort of like this Zen thing for me. And since I am staying with you, what also brings me joy is I love the idea of you waking up to a clean kitchen when you grab the coffee pot in the morning. And that she makes the coffee for us every morning is also a point of my attention goes to the gratitude and what's working and asking the quality questions. So
yeah, and I think we did a good job of figuring out like, I'm willing to do that and it's easy for me and I like it. And you're willing to do that. And I mean, I can't imagine doing dishes being easy, but okay, great. I'm taking it. I'm just taking it. I'm not feeling guilty about it. I'm not saying I'm a bad person because I'm not lifting that load. I'm grateful and I'm enjoying it. And when I was talking about wanting to be in joy, I could even feel, I mean, like I'm doing this podcast for me and I'm doing it. I got so much growth out of my former blog, living every minute of it. And I've really, I have come a long way and it feels better. So I want that for other people. But this idea that I haven't been disowned, I haven't gone homeless, I haven't gone bankrupt, and I haven't become an obese person unable to exit my home because I can't fit through the door as a result of saying I would like to be joyful. It's amazing. It's just, I'm shocked. I'm jaw dropped, flabbergasted. So thank you for being my partner in crime or partner in joy,
And growth. Yeah,
partner in
this is
growth,
it. I'm still
whatever.
figuring it out.
We're all just walking each other home, as they say in different traditions. And so, yes, today joy is on the menu, and I hope you order some. I'm going to.